Welcome to Odoo Essentials. As a sales team manager, it can be complicated to manage more than 15 salespeople. As your team grows, you have less and less time to train or even support your team members for larger deals. This is why many companies will divide their large sales department into smaller, more manageable teams. A common approach to this is to split the teams by localization, so by country, region, or city. You can group your customers who often speak the same language, have the same habits or cultural backgrounds, and connect them with the appropriate and dedicated sales team. Another common approach is to split the teams based on market segments, so by your customers' profiles or the products that they buy. So for example, you might have one team who sells specifically to other businesses, so B2B. Whereas you have another team who sells specifically to the customers, B2C. Since they don't go through the same sales flow, it makes sense to have specialized teams. For recurring sales, it could be also a good idea to split the teams based on sales personas, so between your hunters and your farmers. Your hunters will attract new customers, whereas your farmers will maintain already existing relationships. So for example, you might have a direct sales team which consists of your hunters. So they get new customers, and then they give these customers then to your customer success team, the farmers, who will focus more on upselling to these customers. Since it's 7 times more difficult to attract new customers than it is to sell to already existing customers, your hunters will have a higher commission rate. So let's check out sales teams right now in Odoo CRM. All right, so here we are on our main Odoo dashboard. So let's go ahead and enter our CRM. Then we'll go to Configuration, Sales Teams. So I already have 2, America and Europe. So let's go ahead and enter Europe and edit this team. Okay, click on Edit. Of course, we can change the title of the team. We can also activate these options, Quotation and Pipeline. So with quotations, this allows us to create a quotation from the opportunity. And with Pipeline, that means we can manage these opportunities in our team's pipeline. So I'm going to add a team leader, which will be myself, Mitchell Admin. I will also make myself a team member, and I do that simply by clicking on Add. I will add AC as well. Okay, and then we have this email alias option. Okay, so this is really cool. This will allow my customers or whomever to send an email to this address, and it will automatically create an opportunity in my pipeline. Okay, so I've already generated an email, and let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Save, go to Sales, Team Pipelines. Okay, the only pipeline I see here, of course, is Europe because I'm a member of that team and I'm not a member of the American team. I also see a graph of some relevant information. This information you can also change in the settings that we were just at. So a shortcut to get there is to click on these 3 little dots, go to Settings, and you'll be able to edit that in the dashboard tab here. So here you have all the graph information. You can change the content, expected to close time, and also the grouping method as well. And this tab, you also have an invoicing target. So this will be the target for the entire team, which is pretty cool. All right, but let's go back to our pipeline, and we'll go ahead and enter it by clicking on this button. Okay, and if I look at my new column, I see this opportunity here. So I'm going to go ahead and enter this opportunity. So John Smith sent this email to the alias that I just showed you. The subject of the email became the title of this opportunity. And of course, the email field was automatically populated, as well as the sales team, because it is the alias specific to the European sales team. Now, if I want to see the body of the email, I simply have to go down to the chatter, and I can see all of the rest of the information here. So that's really cool, super convenient for you and your customer. So now let's nurture this opportunity, okay? So what we'll want to do is not only schedule an activity to remind ourselves to contact them and be sure that they have everything that they need, but I want to go even further. So I'm going to enter my configuration activity types, and I'm going to set a default next activity so I don't forget to always communicate with my customer and be sure that they have everything that they need. So I'm going to enter make quote and edit. Okay, so I'm going to add a default next activity here. So when I schedule the activity and mark done for make quote, it will suggest, when I create a new activity, it will suggest that the new activity is follow-up quote in this case. So that's what I'm going to define as my default next activity. But I'm even going to go one step extra. I want to auto-schedule the next activity. Okay, so when I make my quote, when I schedule this main activity and I click done, it will say done, schedule next, and it will only give me the option to schedule this follow-up quote activity. Okay, so let's see that in action. I'm going to click on save. Okay, let's go back to our opportunity here. I haven't yet assigned it to myself, so I can't find it in my pipeline just yet. Let me go ahead and do that now so I have easy access to it. Okay, I'm going to click on save. So now if I go to my pipeline, if I click on the CRM dashboard or go to sales, my pipeline, I'll see that right here. All right, now let's schedule that activity. Okay, so we need to make quote, schedule. I see that schedule down here. I'm going to go ahead and mark done. Now I have done and launch next. All right, and that's because I edited those activity settings. So done, launch next, it already creates an activity for the follow-up quote. So it's super easy for me, and it really helps me be sure I don't forget to contact this customer and follow up on this sale. Okay, now if we mark done, I haven't changed any of the settings for the follow-up quote activity. So if I mark done, you'll see it as any standard activity. Okay, so I have done, schedule next, done, or discard. When I click and schedule next, of course, it doesn't suggest a default next activity. It lets me choose through all of my options. So let's go ahead and mark as done. Simply, discard, sorry. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, now we're going to go to our reporting section, pipeline. All right, so I've created a favorite pipeline search here. And to do that, I simply have to filter the way I would like, and I go to favorites, save current search. Okay, by default, your search will be your opportunities in the last 365 days, but it's super easy to change if you have some information that you always want to have at your fingertips super easily. All right, so here I would like to change my measures. Okay, so I'm going to measure by, let's say, expected revenue, and I'm going to group by my sales team. Okay, so I'm going to remove some of this information and just add sales team. Okay, so I see my two sales team and my opportunities that aren't assigned to a sales team in particular. So I have all that information right here. Now, in many cases, you would like to compare your data from one period to the next. So if I go to time ranges, okay, I can say that I would like this to be based on the last 365 days or the last 30 days, the last 7 days, so that I can see how we're evolving, okay? Or you can even look just at today, and I'll apply. Okay, but what's even cooler is I have this compare to option, and then I can choose either the previous period or the previous year. So I can see all of that information right there in front of my face, right at my fingertips. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching.